Hey guys, it's me, Kari, and I am back with a story time with Kari. I have not read anything to you guys in a little bit, and I've actually been getting some amazing feedback on my story time with Kari videos. You guys seem to really be enjoying it, and that makes me so happy. So anyway, I picked up a new book today, a new to me book, at the Little Free Library at my local mall, and I was so stoked to find this. In fact, my friend Robin found it first and picked it up, and I was just like, if you're not going to take this, I'm totally taking this. And it is Tiger Beat Presents, yes my friends, The Brady Bunch, The Treasure of Mystery Island. Can you even believe that this is a book? So we're going to start reading a little bit of that today, and we'll see how far we can go, especially since I don't have good light. But let's see. Take my glasses off. And here we go. This is The Brady Bunch and the Treasure of Mystery Island by Peter Macha. Excuse me, by Jack Macha. I read Peter because there was the thing about Peter Brady. All right, here we go. Chapter 1. We're going to start here and see how far we can go. And this was written in 1972, or published in 1972, by the way, a year before I was born. That's so rad. Okay, Chapter 1. The trip to Mystery Island was thought up during a breakfast conversation one Sunday in May. It began casually, almost out of the blue. It was a hot, muggy, sunshine-filled day, and everybody around the table was feeling kind of lazy. Gee, I wish it were vacation time already, Peter said, yawning. It feels too hot to even move. I'd love to jump into a pool or something. Hey, Dad, where are we going this summer? Almost at once, like a lighted fuse, the kids all began to talk about where they'd like to go. Greg, who loved surfing, wanted to go to a good beach with big waves. Someone else mentioned the mountains, and a third mentioned a nice lake they'd been to years earlier. But Greg was too excited about surfing and turned to his mother for support. Carol Brady sighed as she looked at her smiling husband, Mike, and grinned at the 6 young faces eyeing her watchfully. It's up to your father, she said. All at once 6 heads turned eagerly in the direction. Mr. Brady, who had been checking through his mail, frowned slightly and held up a letter he had just finished reading. How about going to an island this year? He asked casually. An island? Peter repeated. An island where? You mean in one of the lakes we've gone to? That sounds dull, Marcia said, wrinkling up her nose. They're so tiny, those islands. You practically fall off if you walk 2 blocks. Not this one, Mr. Brady said. This one's pretty big, several miles wide, in fact. And it isn't in a lake. It's in the ocean, just off the coast of Maine. An island off the coast of Maine? Jan exclaimed, her eyes widening with new interest. What's it called? Mystery Island, Mr. Brady said. The name caused a flurry of excitement. The kids looked at one another and wanted to know all about it. How big was it? How far was it from the coastline? Above all, how it got that name. Mr. Brady smiled understandingly at their excitement. They had never gone to an island in the ocean. They had never been to New England. Does it have pirates? Jan asked quickly. It must have with a name like that. How about buried treasure? Bobby cried. Cindy wanted to know if it had wild animals as well. What's it like, Daddy? Little Cindy asked, her eyes as big as saucers. I'll look it up on the big atlas inside, Greg said suddenly, and scraped back his chair. You'll be wasting your time, Mr. Brady said, laughing. It's too small to be in there. He looked at the faces confronting him, then at his pretty blonde wife, and winked at her. You think we ought to keep Mystery Island a mystery till we get there, Carol? He asked wistfully. Oh, no, darling, she grimaced. Don't keep them in suspense that long. They won't be able to sleep now that you've mentioned it. Neither will I, a voice behind them chimed in irritably. Sorry, it's dark. They turned to see Alice carrying a tray loaded with freshly baked rolls. Tell us now, Mr. Brady, please. I'm dying of suspense. Mike Brady laughed. Well, there's nothing like working up a good audience. Okay, I'll tell you all about it. Mystery Island isn't very big. It's just a speck of land, really, just a few miles in each direction from the center. But it's beautiful, full of great beaches and some good hills to climb if you feel like it. It's about an hour off the coast of Maine by ferry, and it's settled mostly by fishing families, though there did used to be a kind of pirates colony there in the 17th century. Pirates? The Brady kids yelled in unison. Mike Brady grinned, having known exactly how they would react when he tossed out the word pirate. Yep, pirates. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum, Mr. Brady said. You see, the island's sort of out of the way. It has a good natural harbor and plenty of caves to hide loot in. According to what I heard, several of the biggest pirates sailing in that time used the island at one time or another. Are they still there, Daddy? Bobby asked carefully. Is it dangerous? Jan asked worriedly. Well, I don't really think so, children, Mr. Brady said. It's been a long time since the place was used by freebooters, but I must tell you that the caves are still supposed to be haunted by the pirates' ghosts. Darling, tell them why we are going there, Carol said. Mike Brady pulled a letter from his inside pocket. Well, that's simple enough to explain. One of my clients, Matt Arnold, who owns about 10 factories, was very happy with the building I designed for him, and he offered me kind of a bonus. The bonus being a free vacation to his place on Mystery Island. He's got a lovely cottage there. He usually goes down there summers to fish and swim and do a little boating, but this year he's got to stay here. Too many factory problems. So he asked us, Mr. Brady concluded with a smile. We'll leave as soon as school's over. How long does it take to drive there? Marcia asked, her eyes shining. We're not going by car, Mr. Brady said. That's part of the vacation. We'll all be flown to Maine. In a plane? Cindy asked. How else? Mr. Brady asked gently, patting his 10-year-old daughter's head. Mr. Arnold's putting the company plane at our disposal. As soon as we're ready to go, we just call the office, and they'll follow through. How long will it take? Bobby wanted to know. Can I take my dolls? Cindy asked. What do you want to take your silly old dolls on a vacation to an island for? Peter said scornfully. How big are the caves? Jan asked. The questions began to fly at Mr. Brady so thick and fast that he held up one hand. Whoa, I'm not finished with breakfast yet. I just gave you a whole bunch of information. The rest of it will have to wait till this afternoon. I'll be glad to set up an information booth in the den at that time. Can I ask just one more now? Bobby asked a little timidly because he saw his father looking anxiously at the fresh rolls that were fast growing cold at the table. Go ahead, Bobby, Mr. Brady said gently. Are there any wild animals on the island, like lions or tigers? Greg and Marcia laughed at the question. They don't have tigers in Maine, Greg said. Just ghosts. Big ghosts? Cindy asked worriedly. I don't think so, Cindy, Mr. Brady said reassuringly. I really shouldn't have mentioned the ghosts. It's probably just one of those things that they've invented for the tourist trade. He looked about quickly as if he were eager to change the subject. Any other questions before I finish my breakfast? Alice came forward and grinned. Are there any good-looking fishermen on the island? And I don't mean ghosts either. Everybody laughed at that. Alice had just about given up hoping that her boyfriend Sam would marry her. The good-natured butcher seemed to evade the question whenever it came up. And we're going to stop there, guys, because I want to try to keep these relatively short clips. So it's not going to be full chapters at a time. It's just going to be several pages at a time. But I think this is going to be a really fun one. I've never read this story. I've probably seen every episode of The Brady Bunch, but I've certainly not read any of the books. So this is a really good find, and I think we're going to enjoy going through this book together. At least I hope so. So anyway, I will be back soon with more stuff, and thanks for watching. Bye, guys.